Dominion Warriors. Zeus commands. Right now, one core is taking over Hero Wars web. Not because it deals the most damage, but because it never lets you play the game. Fluffy and Jorgen, wrapped inside whatever defensive shell the player chooses. Usually Electra. Sometimes Burner. Sometimes both. Most counters lose before they even cast a single skill. But here's the thing. This core has a weakness hiding in plain sight, and almost nobody is exploiting it. Watch this carefully. Right now, one core is suffocating Hero Wars web. Fluffy. Jorgen. And a defensive shell built around them. The first thing you need to understand is this. The shell doesn't matter. The tank can change. The healer can change. Even the damage dealer can change. Fluffy and Jorgen are the engine. And the engine is what you have to beat. If you fought this composition, you already know the feeling. You queue into the battle with your strongest team. The fight starts. And somehow you've already lost before anything meaningful even happens. That's the biggest clue. This isn't a damage problem. It's a control problem. Once you understand that, this core stops looking unbeatable and starts looking exactly like what it really is. A trap. So let's break down the 3 traps first. Because once you recognize them, the counters suddenly make perfect sense. The first trap is the opener. Your instinct is to throw your biggest ultimate as early as possible. Don't. Fluffy completely cancels the first enemy ultimate of the fight. Your strongest play disappears the moment you use it. Now you're fighting without your key ability while Jorgen immediately begins shutting the rest of your team down. The hero you were relying on to break the composition gets removed from the equation before the battle has even started. The second trap is energy. Jorgen's ultimate prevents your team from gaining energy for a full 9 seconds. On top of that, every hit from his passive drains even more energy away. Your ultimates come late. Or they never come at all. If your composition depends on casting abilities to function, you're already losing before the fight develops. You're not losing the damage race. You're losing the timing war. And you never even reached the starting line. The third trap is patience. When burst damage fails, and your ultimates never arrive, most players decide they'll simply outlast the composition. That's exactly what this core wants. Jorgen, Electra, and Burner thrive in long fights. The longer the battle lasts, the stronger their control becomes. The more healing they generate. And the more frustrating they become to break. Trying to outgrind the grinders is walking directly into the game they were designed to win. That's why this core feels impossible. It shuts down your opener. It steals your energy. And it forces you into a battle you're never meant to win. But every one of those traps points toward the same 2 weaknesses. And those 2 weaknesses are the entire point of this video. The first is cleanse. If you can remove Jorgen's energy lock from your own team, everything changes. Your heroes start gaining energy again. Your ultimates fire on time. Your rotations come back online. The entire strategy begins to collapse. A locked team loses. A cleansed team was never trapped in the first place. The second weakness is energy denial. Their engine depends on energy just as much as yours does. drain Jorgen's own team. And suddenly you're forcing them to play the exact game they wanted you to play. No energy. No control. No engine. And notice what isn't on that list. You're not trying to kill Electra. She isn't the problem. She's simply the wall protecting the real threat. Every team I'm about to show you ignores the wall and attacks the engine behind it. You don't outdamage this composition. You don't outsustain it. You free your own team while starving theirs. 3 different lineups do exactly that. Each one approaches the matchup differently. Choose the one that fits your roster. The first counter is Kayla, Isaac, Sebastian, Nebula, and Hus. I call this the double cleanse. This is probably the safest answer of the 3. Why? Because it runs 2 cleansers instead of 1. Sebastian and Nebula both remove debuffs. So even if Fluffy cancels Sebastian's opening cleanse, Nebula is still there to remove Jorgen's lock. Your team simply refuses to stay controlled. At the same time, Nebula drains the enemy's energy while freeing your own team. Hus wins the sustain battle. Isaac provides protection. And Kayla slowly burns everything down. One priority above everything else. Keep Nebula alive. She is the hero that keeps your entire composition functioning. The second counter is Isaac, Sebastian, Lara Croft, Dante, and Dorian. I call this the dodge and outlast. Instead of trying to overpower the core, this lineup simply refuses to lose the long fight. Dante massively increases your team's dodge. That means many of Jorgen's attacks simply never connect. Less damage. Less energy drain. More survivability. Dorian's lifesteal keeps everyone healthy. Sebastian provides the cleanse. Just remember one important detail. Sebastian is your only cleanser here. Don't waste it into Fluffy's opening cancel. Hold it until you actually need it. There's one more thing to respect. Lara is a basic attack carry. Fluffy's ultimate makes the enemy team immune to basic attacks for 12 seconds. Don't expect Lara to explode the fight during that window. Survive it first. Then let her finish the job once the immunity expires. The third counter is Sebastian, Lara Croft, Ishmael, Astaroth, and Fafnir. I call this the burn and dive. This is the aggressive solution. Astaroth is the secret weapon. He burns energy from the furthest enemy. Usually Jorgen himself. At the same time, his resurrection and damage sharing allow your team to comfortably survive the grind. Then comes Ishmael. Once his phantom activates, he dodges both physical and magic damage. He dives directly onto Jorgen, eliminating the lock at its source. Cut off the head, and the entire engine falls apart. Just like before. Remember that your carries rely on basic attacks. Respect Fluffy's 12-second immunity. Time your damage correctly. Burn their energy. Delete Jorgen. And suddenly, there's no grind left to lose. So there you have it. 3 different answers. 3 different playstyles. 1 identical principle. None of these teams tries to outgrind the grinders. Because that's exactly the battle this core was designed to win. Instead, they remove the control. They restore their own rotations. They deny the enemy's energy. And once the engine stops running, the entire composition falls apart. That's the truth behind this core. It isn't unbeatable. It simply wins the fight before most players realize what's happening. Take away its control. Take away its energy advantage. And everything it was built to do suddenly disappears. Now I want to hear from you. Which of these three counters fits your roster best? Will you choose the double cleanse with Nebula, the dodge and outlast strategy with Dante, or the aggressive burn and dive built around Astaroth and Ishmael? Let me know your results in the comments. I'm genuinely curious to see what's working for you. And if this breakdown gave you an edge on the battlefield, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications, so you never miss the next piece of battlefield intelligence. Stay sharp, build smart, and remember, in Dominion, victory doesn't belong to the strongest. It belongs to the commander who understands the battlefield before everyone else.